I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and it's part 2 of the Samsung Electrify 2 full video review. Can this thing compete with the Samsung Galaxy S III, the iPhone 5, and some of the other high-end contenders in the marketplace today? We'll find out. But first, some love to Best Buy Mobile for giving us devices like this for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game, which we turn around and give to you on the site at instantwin.phonedog.com. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working. They'll help you set up your email, your web, your contacts, your screen brightness settings, and more. So when you walk out the door, you're good to go. Let's take a look. Electrify 2. Let's see if it's the best, or if it's better than the rest, or perhaps something else is even better than this. We'll find out in part 2, which starts right now. Part 2 of the full video review of the Motorola Electrify 2, and if you missed part 1, go back and take a look at it. But just to give you a rundown of the specs, yet again, a 1.2 GHz dual-core TI OMAP processor, a 4.3-inch display with 540 by 960 pixels, 8-megapixel camera, 1080p HD video recording, 1,780 milliamp hour non-removable battery, and honestly, this thing at 180 on US Cellular may be a little bit pricey for some. We'll cover that more later in the review video, but that said, 180 bucks at US Cellular, and it's packing a design that's very similar to the Motorola Droid Razr on Verizon. So if you like that layout, you like that thin and light device, but you didn't want to switch to Verizon just to be able to get the device, you can take advantage of it on US Cellular. Let's jump right into Quadrant Standard here and go right into the speed tests and take a look. We'll hit OK, we'll run the full benchmark, and we'll let this run. Motorola does a great job in the wireless radio department. This device is no exception, even though I'm not in a native US Cellular coverage area. So keep that in mind when I'm talking about overall call quality and overall, network performance. What I will say is this device does a fantastic job with its wireless radio. So I find that in places where statistically this is actually running on Sprint right now, roaming on Sprint, I should say. So I took it to a Sprint dead spot that I'm aware of in South Charlotte. And despite having 0 to 1 bars of coverage, fluctuating a little bit depending on where I was at, I got fantastic call quality. And I noticed some choppiness from time to time, but beyond that, it was pretty decent call quality that for the most part I was pretty impressed with. Speakerphone's nice and loud, the earpiece is nice and loud. This is going to be a great device for somebody that really values call quality as the most important thing on your device. If you're looking for like data, you're looking for a bigger screen, you're looking for 4G LTE, whatever the case may be, this may not be the ultimate device for you. That said, the Electrify 2 does a great job in that department. 1,780 milliamp hour battery as well means you're going to do a decent job with making it through the day. I got about 10 hours of moderate use on this device with calling, texting, downloading applications, web browsing, and sending and receiving a few emails. So not too bad by any means, but keep in mind it is on 3G, so I would expect battery life to be a little bit better. But I'm saying about 10 to 12. Depending on my personal use that day. Quadrant Standard score is coming in at 2,927 on this device, so not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Now you may wonder why I don't do a speed test. It's because, again, I'm not in a native US Cellular coverage area. I'm actually roaming on Sprint right now, so it wouldn't be an accurate indicator for you US Cellular customers, or perhaps for you prospective US Cellular customers. So I'm foregoing the speed test in lieu of the camera test, which we're going to do right now. I'll bring over the Galaxy S III for a picture comparison here, and you can see the bright lights. Let's probably hold this up just a little bit so you can take a look. 8-megapixel camera on this with 1080p HD video recording means pretty decent camera shot. Nothing to complain about too much here. Take the pictures there, and I can flip over into video mode, and as soon as I flip over to video and start recording, I can take stills over here as well. So let's say you're watching a soccer game or a football game, you're recording it, but you also want to take some stills of that bad layout or that bad whatever touchdown, whatever the case may be, depending on which sport you're watching. You can do so in your video camera. Again, settings as well, widescreen, I can change the video resolution. I can come over here and do cool things like change the effects. I can do some audio scenes. And I can come over here and change modes to time-lapse or video message. A lot of different camera choices. That said, in comparison again to the One X, the Evo 4G LTE, those devices with image sense, and then the Galaxy S III and the iPhone 5, I think you're going to really struggle to find this to be an awesome contender in the camera department. It's decent, it's just nothing to write home about. It's not a spectacular camera by any means. But again, if that's not your primary concern, this could be a good device. But on the flip side, this thing's 180 bucks, and again, the Galaxy S III on US Cellular is 200, and it packs LTE capabilities. I would be much more likely to recommend this device to somebody if it were maybe a $100 price point or a $79.99 price point, given the specs that come pre-installed on this device, or come with it out of the gate, I should say. Google Play Store here, nothing really new. I just want to show you what the Play Store looks like with all the different categories. You've got apps, music, magazines, books, and movies and TV over here, all color-coded, so when you're in magazines, for example, you'll notice that everything's purple. And I have recommended for you top selling, new arrivals, and more. So I can go into crochet today, for example, and then or crochet today. I think that sounds pretty funny. Crochet today, and then subscribe, or we can buy it for $6.99. But you can do music, do magazines, do books, do apps, and more, all from one application. And then of course you have the typical Google integration here with Google Play. And then you should have your Play Movies as well, and then Play Books. So you got access to books, movies, and music, all from the device out of the gate. Now that brings me over to Smart Actions, which is a cool feature that Motorola debuted in the Droid Razr last year, and they kind of evolved it and updated it on each Motorola device since. And you can take a look here at Smart Actions. We'll get started. I want to show you a couple of these. Now I don't want to customize that one. Let's go in here. So you've got a low battery saver one, but you can really customize these for a ton of different things. One of my favorite is Drive Smart, where you can customize it that when you get in the car, it automatically turns on Bluetooth, or perhaps when you turn on Bluetooth, that serves as a trigger. And then once you turn on Bluetooth, it turns the ringer volume to high, it sends an auto reply text, voice announce the caller name so you don't have to look down while you're driving. It's all about these things. I'm very adamantly against text messaging while driving, and it's nice features like this where I'm like, this is awesome. Vehicle mode launches by default. You can configure all this stuff to where you don't have to look at the device. Same thing over here with a sleep rule, so you can adjust it at night, very much like Do Not Disturb on the iPhone 5. A meeting rule, so when you're in a meeting, it automatically silences everything. A workout mode, a work mode, a home mode, and more. So it's really, intended to customize to your life and your individual life choices, so it knows when you come home, it knows when you go to work, it knows when you're in meetings, and you can kind of custom and configure it as you see fit, so it's optimal for you and for your use. I think that's a really awesome application there that Motorola has added into this device. So all in all, this device is a great device, and much like the Droid Razr, they've done a good job here. Does it have a Snapdragon S4 CPU? No. Is it slower, slightly slower as a result? Yes, it is. I mean, there's a noticeable speed difference to me between this device and anything for that matter with a dual-core TI OMAP CPU as opposed to the S4. The S4 is really setting the benchmark right now when it comes to mobile processing. And this device, TI OMAP, and the rumor is right now that Texas Instruments is actually getting out of the mobile CPU business, but at least when it comes to smartphones, but it's a decent processor. It works well on the Galaxy Nexus, the other Motorola devices. That said, when you look at this in comparison to the Galaxy S3, you see so many more features on a high-end device for 20 more bucks. This price point really needs to be lowered to $99.99 or $79.99, much like the Droid Razr M on Verizon, which has a better processor and updated specs, and you can get it for 100 bucks. If they lower the price point, awesome device. It's still an awesome device, but at 180 bucks, I think there are better alternatives on US Cellular. Much more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com with this device and more, so keep it locked on the site for continuing coverage. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/PhoneDog. We're doing the greatest tech giveaway ever, too. Be sure to check it out for your chance to win an awesome smartphone. And be sure to follow me on Twitter as well, PhoneDog_Aaron, and on Facebook. Give me that like, Facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for more dogfights between this and other hot devices on PhoneDog.com as we enter the crazy holiday season of smartphones, also known as fourth quarter. I'll see you next time.